Hello, you're kicking off the Wednesday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin with Milinchi and Igam Headlines. Party General Secretary Tolam honors wounded veterans. Haiphong ready to receive new investment wave. Vietnam emerges as the world model in OCOP implementation. As the nation commemorates the 70th anniversary of Wounded Veterans and Martyrs Day, July the 27th, 1947-2025, on July the 15th, General Secretary Tolam paid a heartfelt visit to Thuận Thành Nursing Center for Wounded Veterans in Bắc Ninh Province, the largest and most specialized facility for severely wounded veterans in the country. Joining the delegation was General Phan Van Gia, Minister of National Defense, among other senior leaders. Over the past 30 years, the center has provided long-term care, rehabilitation, and support for more than 1,000 severely injured veterans. At present, the center is home to 84 veterans classified as Category 1/4, those with the more critical war-related injuries. On behalf of the party and state, General Secretary Tolam extended his deepest gratitude and sincere respect to the wounded soldiers, those who sacrificed their youth and part of their bodies for the independence and freedom of the nation. Despite the physical wounds, they continue to embody resilience, integrity, and optimism, living testament to the spirit of Vietnam and role models for generations. The General Secretary also commended the tireless dedication of the doctors, nurses, and staff at the center, who have quietly and wholeheartedly devoted themselves to providing the best possible care for the veterans. He reaffirmed the unwavering commitment of the party and the state. People who rendered great service to the revolution are the nation's most cherished treasures, sacred symbols of patriotism and Vietnamese moral tradition. Gratitude and remembrance are not just national policies, they are moral imperatives deeply rooted in the conscience of the people and the political ethos of the entire system. Looking ahead, General Secretary Tolam urged the party committees, authorities, and mass organizations in Bắc Ninh to continue improving the material and spiritual well-being of veterans and people with meritorious service. Beyond support, he emphasized the importance of creating opportunities for these heroes to continue contributing to society, sharing their courage, wisdom, and life values with the wider community. At this occasion, General Secretary Tolam and other leaders presented meaningful gifts to the wounded veterans receiving care at the center, as well as to the staff who have devoted themselves to this noble mission. On the afternoon of July 15th, Haiphong City and the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry organized a conference themed Haiphong Strategic Gateway to the New Era within the framework of the third meeting of the APEC Business Advisory Council. President Lương Cường addressed the event. Addressing the event, President Lương Cường stated that amidst rapid changes in geopolitics, technology, and the investment and business environment, adaptability and innovation are vital for the survival of an economy. Haiphong, with its ecosystem of seaports, industrial zones, and smart urban areas, exemplifies these essential qualities. And Vietnam welcomes investors from around the world and APEC economies, which have chosen Haiphong to implement major projects. Praising ABAC for placing key issues such as the zero change, sustainable development, green energy, and smart logistics on its agenda, President Lương Cường emphasized that these are also strategic pillars in the development plans of both Haiphong and Vietnam in the coming period. He also affirmed that Vietnam remains committed to maintaining political stability, advancing strong institutional reforms, safeguarding the rights and legitimate interests of investors, and enhancing connectivity, not only in terms of infrastructure, but also in governance, data, and human resources. Within the framework of the event, a ceremony was held to present the National Assembly's resolution on piloting a number of specific mechanisms and policies for the development of Haiphong, focusing on the establishment of a free trade zone, a strategic competitive advantage, opening up new development space for the city. Also, the event, the city's leaders handed over investment registration certificates and memorandum of understanding on cooperation to domestic and international investors with a total registered capital of over $15.6 billion. Hosting Mr. Winston Cho, chairman of the APEC Business Advisory Council, or ABAC for short 2025, and vice chairman of the Republic of Korea Hyun-sung Group, along with prominent ABAC business members. On July the 15th, President Lincoln welcomed ABAC's decision to hold its third meeting of 2025 in Vietnam, affirming that it reflects the country's growing role and reputation in the Asia-Pacific region. The host emphasized the significance of this meeting in shaping business community recommendations for the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting and as an early step in Vietnam's preparations to host APEC in 2027. He called on ABAC and member economies to support Vietnam's efforts and praised Hyun-sung Group's business activities in Vietnam. Reaffirming Vietnam's commitment to high-tech investment and innovation-led growth, he encouraged ABAC to help foster stronger ties between Vietnamese enterprises and global partners towards shared regional and international prosperity. On the morning of July the 15th in Hanoi, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính attended the first Party Congress of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the 2025-2030 tenure. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Bùi Thanh Sơn chaired the event. The event saw the attendance of Deputy Defense Minister Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Hồng Thái. Addressing the event, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính praised the outstanding achievements of the foreign affairs sector over the past tenure. Despite many fluctuations in the world, the sector has proactively promoted its role as one of the pioneering and core forces in maintaining a peaceful and stable environment, contributing to facilitating independence, sovereignty, and enhancing the national position and international prestige of Vietnam. He asked the Party Committee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to continue thoroughly grasping, concretizing, and effectively implementing those central resolutions and directives on foreign affairs with a high sense of responsibility. On July the 15th, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Minister of National Defense of Vietnam, chaired a preparatory meeting for the second Vietnam-Cambodia Deported Defense Friendship Exchange. Attending the meeting was Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Trường Thắng, Deputy Minister of National Defense, and General Phat Viboy Sophac, Deputy Director of the General Department of Policy and Foreign Affairs, of Director of the Department of International Cooperation under the Cambodia Defense Ministry. Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến commended the swift and dedicated efforts of the involved agencies in preparing for the event. He requested all relevant units to continue close coordination, urgently review all arrangements, and ensure thorough readiness, particularly in protocol, decoration, health services, and event logistics. He also emphasized the need to enhance communications and ensure absolute safety and security. On July the 14th, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến inspected planned venues for the exchange, including Mộc Bài Ba Vét International Border Gate, Landmark 171, the site for a joint patrol observation, friendship tree planting, a joy-filled medical drill, and other activities. The second Vietnam-Cambodia Border Defense Friendship Exchange is scheduled for November 2025 in Tây Ninh Province of Vietnam and Siem Reap Province of Cambodia. On July the 15th in Hanoi, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Văn Hiền, Deputy Minister of National Defense, hosted Admiral Reup, Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Thai Navy. Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Văn Hiền proposed that both navies continue to strengthen coordination to effectively implement the shared understanding reached by the two defense ministries. He emphasized promoting mutual trust through mechanisms such as bilateral naval consultations, delegation exchanges, and training cooperation. Admiral Quang Viet expressed his hope that Vietnam Ministry of National Defense would further enhance naval ties between the two countries. Later that day, at the Navy Command Headquarters in Hai Phong, the commander of the Vietnam People's Navy hosted an official welcome for Admiral Quang Viet and the entourage. During talks, both sides agree that naval and defense cooperation is developing in a practical and in-depth manner. Dry patrols conducted by the two navies were held as a model for regional maritime cooperation, contributing to peace, stability, and shared development in adjacent waters. Coming up next, Vietnam emerges as the role model in OCOP implementation. Overseas youth writes next chapter in Vietnam's story of peace. The Ministry of Agriculture and Environment of Vietnam, in collaboration with the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, held a high-level inter-regional knowledge exchange on one country, one priority product models. The event drew the participation of policymakers across continents. Other highlights of the forum, many artisans from traditional craft villages showcased unique local products among international delegates while sharing their experiences in the journey to develop certified OCOP products. I hope to promote hand embroidery crafts to international friends. Since our products received OCOP certification last year, they have gained much more attention and recognition. The event featured a discussion on Vietnam's experience in OCOP implementation, a ministerial-level dialogue on OCOP's contributions to transforming agriculture and food system towards sustainability and resilience, and resolutions to boost the application of science, technology, and innovation in agriculture. Policymakers from 21 countries praised Vietnam's OCOP program as a remarkable success. This year's FAO brought representatives from 21 African nations to study Vietnam's OCOP program in line with FAO's four better goals: a better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. Based on FAO's assessment, Vietnam's OCOP initiative has become one of the most outstanding success stories among member countries. OCOP is not just a brand but a model that integrates government, businesses, cooperatives, and communities into a creative ecosystem, focusing on capacity building, quality control, brand development, and market connectivity. To date, Vietnam has certified more than 16,800 OCOP products with ratings of 3 stars or higher. Vietnam's GDP grew by 7.52% in the first 6 months of the year, which is considered to ease pressure on the remaining months and provide a solid foundation for full-year growth. This also marks the highest mid-year growth rate over the past 15 years. However, this is only a necessary step toward achieving the 8% target. To realize this goal, Vietnam must fully tap into available growth drivers and implement economic policies in a timely and flexible manner. Key growth areas in the second half include public investment, science and technology, digital transformation, innovation, credit growth, and consumption. Among these, public investment plays a vital role, acting as a key driver through the acceleration of disbursement and the implementation of major national infrastructure projects. The Ho Chi Minh City, the Vietnam Summer Camp 2025 officially began with the theme, "Together We Write the Story of Peace." Organized by the State Committee for Overseas Vietnamese, the camp gathers young Vietnamese from around the world for a journey rich in heritage, memory, and shared aspirations. On the first day, more than 100 young delegates, students and youth of Vietnamese origin from 31 countries and territories visited Reup, where President Ho Chi Minh departed in 1911 to begin his quest for national liberation. There, they offered flowers and incense at his statue, honoring his legacy. Today, this symbolic location is home to the Ho Chi Minh Museum, Ho Chi Minh City branch, which preserves over 24,000 documents, photographs, and artifacts detailing the life and revolutionary path of Vietnam's beloved leader. I'm so happy to meet fellow young Vietnamese from around the world. This year's theme, Writing the Story of Peace, reminds me how much we owe to our ancestors and heroic mothers who gave everything for our independence. Thanks to them, we enjoy a peaceful and thriving Vietnam today. Leaving Reup, the campus visited the Reunification Palace, a landmark etched into the nation's memory as the site of Vietnam's final victory and reunification on April 30th, 1975. At this historic venue, they explored the unique architecture and learned about the decisive Ho Chi Minh campaign that ended decades of war and opened a new era of peace. With the theme, Together We Write the Story of Peace, this year's summer camp calls on the younger generation of overseas Vietnamese to embrace and promote the enduring values of our nation: peace, compassion, resilience, and a shared vision for the future. Starting in Ho Chi Minh City reflects the historic continuity from the struggle and sacrifice to today's growth and renewal. Over the next 2 weeks, the participants will journey across Vietnam from the north to the Central Highlands and the south, taking part in meaningful cultural, historical, and social activities. More than just a tour, the experience invites each young delegates to reflect, engage, and contribute their voice to the living story of Vietnam. Vietnam Summer Camp 2025 runs from July 13th to the 26th. The official opening ceremony took place on July the 16th in Đắk Lắk, where the closing ceremony is scheduled for July the 25th in Hanoi. It is the end of the English News Bulletin today. You can watch the news again at qpvn.vn. For now, goodbye and see you next time.